My name's Jimmy Bongo. I'm a poet, writer. The documentary is called Are You Mad? All the finest people are. And it's about the arts. It's and how people in the arts seem to struggle with mental health and how it helps them with writing and performing, like out the darkness come with the light sort of thing. You know, their journeys, what they went through and the suffering and how they dealt with that and how they come out at the other side.
I'm Becky, for One Cool Poet. There was this one time I purposely just got a little snack and then sat myself in the room from the morning till night time and meditated. Just had one break in the middle of it. I didn't fall asleep. It was one of the hardest things that I've mentally had to do. And there was a point in that meditation where I felt a pop. I felt it and I heard it. And as that went, the whole room just illuminated. After that, that's where things became a little bit trippy for me, a little bit more. And what really...
Like in a permanent trip.
I was in a permanent trip. I can't concentrate, my head's all fuzzy. Burnt out brain, constant worry. I'm sick of this, I want to be free. A day without anxiety. Stomach churning, hearing the blood in your ears. It's the norm, being like this for years. Always comparing, bearing the weight of a ton. Seems an effort to get the job done. People think you're lazy, crazy lady staring into space. It can grab no matter what religion or race. Body slows, mind's not working. The birds on the fence, they're all twerking. You're going psycho, you know. Who knows, you know me. I'm not crazy, or maybe I am. Hard as nails, like Van Damme. Hamster in a cage. 1 minute you're happy, the next in a rage. What's the matter? Sort it out. Acting like a spoiled brat, sitting with a pout. Saying nothing, when all you want to do is shout. How about you meditate, or take some pills? You'll feel like a prince, diamonds and pearls. Until one day you take too much. Kill that doctor, where is he? Mush. You don't need this, just a blunt to kush. Lemon, haze, heads fuzzy, turn the page. Crystal, maze, lost in translation. I'm a girl, yes, Caucasian or Asian. Maybe Malaysian, I don't know. Voices follow wherever you go. Take a ride to Bordeaux. Live in a ghetto and a chateau in Mexico or Rio de Janeiro. But don't drink and drive, that's a no-no. If you must ring the DVLA, let them know you're a little cray-cray. Baby, hit me one more time. Britney's here, she's making me do crime. Nah, Britney, you do it. I ain't doing time travel. Same brain starts to unravel. Goes to pieces like bits of gravel. Babble, blah, blah, blah. People look, stop and stare. It's not fair, I'd rather be boring. The day's just started, it's Monday morning. Stay out of my way, Kanye. You've had forewarning.
My personal journey with mental health, it was through alcohol and substance abuse and bad diet. I had an ayahuasca experience and I sort of like went from there and totally took myself away from everything that I'd known. So it's like unlearn everything and relearn. And meditation and nature was and writing all me stuff down and poetry and whatever and performing really helped me. But nature and meditation was one of the main things that helped me.
My name's Raven Rada and I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I do some rapping and spoken word and I'm currently learning about filmmaking. I don't think I've met anyone who hasn't really had any kind of struggles around mental health. And I myself also am one of those people. Looking at personally what I've struggled with a lot is always those themes about identity, self-perception and being able to move on in this fast-paced kind of depressive world. And I found myself kind of being swept through various mental health issues sometimes when I just can't even go and socialise or go out and I just need to stay at home and just kind of recuperate myself. And then other times I struggle with anxiety of like the kind of the fear of the future or what's going to happen, and I get all nervous kind of feelings in my body, in my stomach. But then I think that the main mental health issue that I've actually dealt with was through kind of narcissistic abuse. I really noticed the decline of my confidence and my sense of self as I was repeatedly being put down with bad words and horrible things being said to me, and being told one thing but then made out to be a different thing, and got really, really confused. And I didn't even know what I was going through at the time, but I really did lose my confidence and how I presented myself, and I was really becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. Whereas now, changing my environment and being around people who love me and also giving that love to myself has had such a huge, huge positive impact on me. And I kind of figured out that to stop trying and start doing. Just do what feels right. I needed some time as well to just do nothing and to really heal and to be safe and sound.
I had a nightmare. It said, you're not going to be able to speak. And it was like, okay. But I felt it. Like, I woke up in it. And I went into my daughter's room and I was just like looking at her. And she was going, you're all right? And I was just like, and I looked out the window and there was a big, massive Royal Mail van. And it was going the Royals. He was messing. I've just had this nightmare and there's a big Royal Mail van outside my house. So that's what I thought. They're coming for me. And I was just like, what's just happened to me there was a prediction. And in a way, it became my reality. I was listening to like Native American so I was getting up at sunrise and just sitting there like that and just getting the vibes from the sunrise. But my neighbours can just see me in my front garden like this, not doing nothing, do you know what I mean? For me, there was a purpose for what I was doing. So we had the police there in vans, and they were all standing around me in masks. I was just like, yous are actors, yous are acting. And they was just like, no, we're not. They put me in handcuffs. You know what I mean? And I weren't violent to no one. I was painting peace and love, literally the words, peace, love, energy. I was writing all that on walls, do you know what I mean?
I'm Caris. I suffer with PTSD, depression, anxiety, and autism is something that I've suffered with for over a decade now. I'm in a better place at the moment, but it's took a long time to kind of get there. I think looking back, it first really came to the forefront when I was about 8 years old. Yeah. And I'd do things to kind of hurt myself, so I'd throw myself down the stairs, I'd punch myself and just really inflict pain. And obviously at that age I didn't really understand why I was doing it. I just knew that it made me feel better for some kind of reason. The high school that I went to wasn't fantastic. They didn't really recognise anything that was going on. They just kind of saw me as like a bad pupil. Put me into anger management, which made matters worse. So then being in that environment in school and then coming home and then being in an environment where it was very angry. There was no love there. There was not really any affection there. There was no escape for me. So I kind of again just resorted to doing things like hurt myself. So just cutting myself ever so slightly. I'd felt very just different and that no one was understanding what was wrong. I'd say, I feel sad. And then in return, I'd get someone saying to me, well, what have you got to be sad about? Well, I don't know what I've got to be sad about, but I feel sad and there's nothing I can do about it. And I tried, that's when I started writing poetry and stuff like that. And unfortunately, my nana passed away, and then that's when I I got really bad PTSD, and that was like every day for years. So then I applied to join the army. A few months before I was meant to start my training, my mum got me a little dog, a little puppy, and I said I'm still going. That's not going to stop me. And I think the reason I wanted to go into the army was because I couldn't actually go through with actually killing myself. Like, I had attempts, but it never worked. Yeah. And if you want them to work, they will work. And I feel like me wanting to go into the army was a way of, well, maybe I'll get killed, and I've not had to do it myself. But I fell in love with my little doggy, luckily. I think it took me a long time to realise that I do need help. Especially a lot of people in my family also suffer, so I've seen what it's done to them, and they've been given medication. They still take the medication, and I just feel like it's just kind of masked it, and they've never actually dealt with it.
If you are a man and you talk about your feeling, people get uneasy and they usually start reeling. There's something wrong with you, thinking like that. Yeah, mate, choose a favour, what are you playing at? But if people can't talk about how they feel, it'll build up and you'll never heal. See, this isn't healthy for nobody's state, because it'll end in self-harm or by sealing your own fate. The suicide rate is alarming for men at the minute, because depression doesn't tell you or warn you when you get in it. It's just something built up in society. And when tough guys have it, they say, oh no, not me. I had depression, and so do a lot of folk. But some people blanket or laugh it off as a joke. But the suicide rate is on the increase, and to the big pharma, it's just like a golden fleece. As if you go to doctors, they'll put you on pills. Now this is surely something that'll never cure your ills. Talking to someone. Now this is a start, and sharing your feelings straight from the heart. Just suck it up, lad. That's the old way. If a man shows his feelings, oh yeah, lad, that's gay. But we're all human and we feel the same. It's a thing called life, and no one is to blame. So if someone has depression, don't be calling them a dope. Super I know recently, they ended it with a rope. So if depression comes knocking on your door, because this doesn't really care if you're rich or poor. Please find some solace you can find in a friend, and tell depression to leave and say we're on the mend.
My name's Earwig Poet. I'm a local poet from Liverpool, and this is called Peel Street Blues. I hear sirens, I hear gunshots. I see a young mum in pyjamas pushing the kid to the pram to the shops. I see the rich folks all righteous supping down £7 coffees. There's a new breed of scally loitering outside the local offie, and the students are in the park eating all al fresco. There's a couple in love making me jealous in the island Tesco. But meanwhile, back at me, my soul's sliding away, but a slightly dark sense of humour's getting me through the day, and I'm seeking sanctuary from all the madness. And the heroin addicts ask me for some money and walk away, ignore them, but I feel some sadness, because I know deep beneath his drug-ridden face that I'm seeing, once lived a decent human being, and my anxiety fills up and up and up, but I refuse to go insane. So I bring in the sunshine as I blot out the rain, and that way I've ecologically recycled the pain. And then I just smile, because all I see is magic in all the mundane. Thanks.
Do you think a lot of artists struggle with mental health?
I think more creative people do, yeah, and I'm not saying like, oh, they're better than anyone else or the worst, but yeah, I think the poets and the creative people, I don't know if it's because they're thinking all the time. The brains are always they're always on a fine tuning, aren't they? So I kind of think that, yeah, I've always thought that. I know with yourself and I know other people who we know, especially poets and that. I think they suffer, and I kind of think poets are there to help people as well. Like I've had people come up to me and say, well, I really enjoyed that, your message in the poem and that. And that's what we think we should be there for. We're kind of like little sly superheroes, you know what I mean? We're not flying around in capes, but we're if people hear our work and they've been through a similar similar story to what I'm trying to say, it helps them. And you don't even realise that sometimes, you know what I mean? When you're writing or when you're performing, you just do it automatically, because that's what you do, isn't it? Some of my best stuff that I've wrote when I've really been in the go to, like, you know, like down, in the, down, like, and it sort of brings out the best in you, and I don't know, I think that it is something, a niche really, that I think everyone's the same. I think I'm always, when I'm at my darkest, I'm at my most creative. And I don't know what that is, you know, maybe you can't write when you're happy, you know what I mean?
Do you think the arts helped you?
It did help me, yeah. And I think it should be something that you is kind of like introduced to you like in schools as well. But it, you know, did tell you that it can help with like mental health and stuff like that.
When's the last time you performed? A while or?
Yeah, years ago, probably 2, and I think probably the reason why I've not written as much in the past few years is because maybe I'm just like scared of going to that, like I kind of relate it with going to that place, like that deep dark place. Like clockwork, my mind keeps on ticking away to the metronome of distorted thoughts, paralysed in a vortex of darkness, blackened by the ashes of obscured memories burnt into my soul. I feel numb as I succumb to the imprisonment of my shackled life. Tears wash over me as I release a silent cry, so loud like I'm being lynched. Inch by inch, I drown further down into the abyss, my breathing intense as I struggle to not lose consciousness from the hidden depths of my pain. Trying to retain composure, but the chemical exposure has infected my brain, and so I remain in a warped reality of the world we are living in. So many times I've thought about just giving in, as the edge of the blade kisses the surface of my skin. My demons are fighting to win, so they can grin at another life sacrificed to the grim. My sadness is masked in an abundance of smiles through the trials I endure. Sentenced to insanity, I struggle to see the beauty of the world that I once saw. I'm flawed. Minor eruptions form cracks in everything I see. Volcanic-like substance incinerating the happiness within me, bringing me to my knees as I plead to be set free. But nothing can help as I perceive myself to be a lost cause. No one will understand, they'll just see me as a chore, right? This was my mentality not too long ago. You see, it's a disease of the mind, of the most detrimental kind, and too many times have people been left behind to suffer as their mental health declined, and so they resigned to taking their own lives, as that was the only way they knew how to escape hell on earth, hoping for a suicidal rebirth, as they didn't understand how much they were loved or how much they were worth.
The art is like a huge help with mental health, because I mean, I'm a writer. Primarily, I write poetry or songs or plays or monologues, and writing is therapy. It's really therapeutic. It's healing. It doesn't only heal me, but it can also help others. And I've been absolutely delighted when I share things that I go through and other people resonate with it, and it helps them as well.
It's like you're emptying the badness out of you, and when you
Out of the darkness come out the light.
Yeah, that's it. You're emptying all the badness out into the light.
You know, boldly, unapologetically, bravely write about the deepest things that you're thinking about, and you know, you don't have to share it. You can always choose not to share it after you've written it, but it's really a huge help. And I think that, you know, our minds are by nature a little bit mad, aren't they?
Every day I just walk alone. No money to pay my bills on the phone. I wish that I